Take it easy and solve the school lunch problem with SPAM. S-P-A-M.
こんにちは、タイガークローラジオ。You are listening now. Back J.
You are listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Number 1 in vintage computer and video game entertainment. And now your host, Critical Failure.
Oh
yeah, you guys know what time it is. It's time for TCR. What number are we at? We're pushing 300. It's got to be 300 soon. Not this week, though. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we got the Bandcast. We've got a couple of really good Bandcasts this week. Some really great stuff has happened. We're going to dig into Chiptunes Equals Win Volume 8 a little bit more for the final time. All I can tell you guys is that it's an awesome album. These things come out once a year. You got to check them out. With that, we'll go ahead and get things started with the first track. Here's one that's got some bounce to it. This is the Sandpiper Squad from City Fires. What number is this on the album? 6? This is the 6th track. Boys and girls, you're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Stick with us. It has a little bounce to it indeed, doesn't it? Nothing quite like Chiptunes Equals Win, man. We got Battle of the Bits. There's some amazing albums that come out of Battle of the Bits. But we're like... When was the last Battle of the Bits album on their Bandcamp page? I think it came out in November. The Atari Trilogy? That's been a while now. We've had a couple of major competitions come and go with no real releases from them yet. So looking forward to the next big Battle of the Bits release. But with that, let's head back to the van. Now this week I did a vancast on Monday morning, and for whatever reason, I woke up feeling really bubbly on Monday. Let's take a listen and see how bad it gets. Good morning, everybody. Oh yeah, it's Monday. 61 degrees out. It's nice and cool. Cool Monday. Feels good. Feels very good. And I'm pulling out of the driveway, getting ready to get off to work. It's been a really good morning, I must say. Woke up early and sat down at the old Panzer Studios. Started working on the eBay shop, trying to fund my synthesizer. Getting some things listed. I put up a classic baseball game. What is it called now? Mattel's Classic Baseball, and it's a handheld that came out around 2000 or so, and it's a reproduction of 1970s classic handheld games, where they had individual red LED lights inside of them, and that's the way they worked. So I sat down with that last night. See, the way that thing worked is it had a really complex method of beeps, right? You would see the ball coming and you press the hit button, and then it would beep twice if it was a double and 3 times if it was a triple, etc., etc. And then you'd mash the run button. So you couldn't readily tell how to play this thing. And over on the back, there's a sticker that explained it. However, I got this particular unit from a thrift store, and the thrift store put their sticker right over the instructions sticker. So last night I spent some time getting that thing off, so this thing was ready for sale. Got it cleaned up, and then I finally got the instructions showing and figured out how to play it, and then I started playing with it, and I was like, oh wait, this is kind of fun. So last night I played Mattel's Classic Baseball handheld for a while. It is up for sale now, by the way. That, along with Soul Calibur 2. I ended up with 2 copies of Soul Calibur 2, believe it or not. So I had to choose between the 2 of them. And I listed the other one this morning. One of them has a demo disc in it. That was clearly the winner. That was clearly the keeper. I haven't tried the demo disc yet, but that's pretty cool. So I got up Soul Calibur 2. What else did I get up? I put up 4 auctions this morning. And then a couple of Wii games. I have an old Meet the Robinsons game that nobody plays. And then something called Obscure the Aftermath, which was a Wii game that I got, I don't know, many years ago. So those 4 things went up this morning. Surprisingly, all of my Call of Duty games are selling. Because the Call of Duty is a series that's getting dumped at the thrift stores. And they're all selling, not for big money, but, you know, I had one sell for $350 plus shipping, and then I had another one sell for $250 plus shipping. So I made back what I spent on those games, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to run into the grocery store and we'll continue this in just a minute. All right, I made it. I'm free. Give me a second to pull out of the old parking lot here and get back on the road. It's weird. I had a hard time sleeping last night. I didn't get to sleep until like 1 o'clock. But feeling okay this morning. Feeling okay. Having a nice chipper morning. I don't know if it's because it's cooled down and now the temperature's in the 60s, or maybe it's just something from this morning, and then by the time 10 a.m. gets here, I'll crash and feel terrible. At any rate, it's fine. So we talked about some of the stuff I'm selling. I'm trying to finance a new synthesizer. I'm trying to build a Euro rack. And I got the box. I bought a Moog 104 HP Eurorack case, which for an empty box was really expensive. And I got a power module, so I got that hooked up. And now I just need some modules that aren't power. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on something before too long here. Let's see, what's going on in the world of video games for me? So apparently there was a new character on Street Fighter V recently. I haven't played Street Fighter V in a while, but Poison, the character Poison from Final Fight, is now playable in Street Fighter V. Which yeah, I thought they were done releasing characters for that game, so that was kind of a surprise. Now again, I haven't been in, so I don't know if she is like the last one, or if we get a whole nother season of characters. I haven't really done a whole lot of sniffing around or checking it out, but I enjoyed Street Fighter V quite a lot in my day. Now, I spent more than I should have on DLC, but I got like 85 hours out of that game. Now, for me, that's a lot. Very few games cross the 100-hour mark, and Street Fighter V is pretty close. So with the release of the new character, I wouldn't mind opening it back up and trying it again. If I give it another run, I think I might be able to cross 100 hours with that game. It's a good game. It really was. People say the consensus seems to be that Street Fighter 4 was better because it was more complex, I guess. But I don't know. I dig it. I think that might have been timing also. I like Street Fighter V because it came out at a time when I just built my computer, and I was going to MagFest, so I would bring my computer along with me, and I'd play with NG. It was good. I had a good time with it. It really was a good game. All right, give me a second here. So that's Street Fighter V. I haven't since Street Fighter V, I haven't really dug knee deep into a fighting game the same way since. I bought the Capcom Street Fighter bundle on Steam just this past sale, but I haven't dug into it yet. I got it at the same time as the Beat 'em Up bundle, and I played all the way through the Beat 'em Up bundle. I played every game in that bundle now to the end. But yeah, I haven't done much with the Street Fighter bundle yet. People say the netcode is really good. Like, you can get on there and actually play. Like, if you wanted to play Third Strike, supposedly it's a thing you can do now, which is pretty awesome. I think one thing that would be fun to do would be to take my fight stick, because I've got this Kenba Obsidian fight stick. It's a beautiful $200 high-end stick, and make a video of $200 fight stick on super cheap PC games. And uses this big monster to just play like the GOG version of Pulsar. Hey, great game. What else? Maybe Vanguard Princesses. Well, $4.99 regular price fighting game. Hey, again, that's a great game. I think that would be fun. There's fun to be had there. People seem to like the arcade stick videos that I made. I didn't make a bunch of them, but they did well. Fight sticks have their own subculture, even like amongst fighting game fans, which is pretty cool. I honestly wish I was better at fighting games because the sticks are so awesome. I always get a big kick out of whenever like a fight stick thread shows up, just going through it and seeing what people have. I could never modify them. I see a lot of people like hey, here's my Obsidian, and I've replaced the faceplate with a piece of plexiglass that has special artwork. I never did that because I looked into that with my cheaper Kenba stick, and that involves custom plexiglass, and it involves unwiring all the buttons so that you can change the faceplate, and then rewiring the buttons. And I'm not willing to do all that just to get custom artwork on a fight stick, but I do appreciate seeing other people who've done it. Having owned a fight stick and played with one, I've got that special appreciation for, like, okay, this was a really nice item that you took a screwdriver to and started messing with. So when it's done right and when it looks good, yeah, I appreciate that. It looks good, man. Yeah, so maybe it'd be time to get the fight stick out and play some Street Fighter, some old school Street Fighter. That would be good. Because that was a game, the Street Fighter collection. That was another one of these games that made a big splash when it came out. And I didn't get a hold of it until that splash had died down already. So I don't even know if you can, if there's still people playing online at any given time. But it is what it is. As far as I know, people still play Fightcade all the time, which is like a special implementation of MAME that has like a fighting game packaged in. So fighting games can be played online, readily available, but I just haven't. I still kind of mill around with my usual Steam games and just kind of look at that world from the outside in, and occasionally I just sort of dip my toe in. But Street Fighter V was the one instance where I was really like knee deep in the fighting game world. Like I remember watching some Evo bouts because I was really into it. I think that's the only time I ever did that. Alright. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm just about ready to send you guys back to the studio. Because I'm sitting here, I paused the recording, which I often do, and I'm thinking, alright, what else is going on that I can talk about? And I realized I had dead silence in the car for like 6 or 7 minutes. So I think we're pretty much all caught up. It's Monday, so the weekend is pretty far away. Right now I'm looking forward to, it's one of those things where I'm looking forward to trying Street Fighter V again. But I know by the time the weekend gets here, all that will change and I'll be playing something else. So I'm going to run off and do Monday at work. I'll see you guys back at the studio. Oh, hang on. All right, there we go. We are back in the studio. Feeling good. It's Friday when this is being recorded, and I'm going out tonight, which is amazing. I'm looking forward to it, I must say. But in the meantime, let's revisit. What are we doing? 18 minutes in. Let's revisit Chiptunes Equals Win one more time and see what we got here. that's The Tale of... I was about to read that wrong. The Tale of Kingsville Harbor. And that's from Gen 2. That's a good track. It's a good track. I must say I'm quite impressed. In some video game / chiptune related news that's not related to Chiptunes Equals Win, Chibzle. You might know that name. She's the composer of the music from Super Hexagon. That music we only ever heard 12 seconds at a time. She paired up with Terry Kavanagh, an old favorite of mine, in Dicey Dungeons. Dicey Dungeons is the name of a game that just dropped on Steam. Looks like $15 regular price. Now let's see what they have here. It says indie strategy roguelike card game. So pretty out there. But I'll tell you what, anything that's got Terry Kavanagh's name, and if you don't know who Terry Kavanagh is, brother, you got some Google searching to do. Super Hexagon, VVV, did a bunch of stuff on the Ouya when that came out, although I'm sure he'd probably like to forget all that. And he did a game called Self-Destruct, which was a little known freeware shmup, which I absolutely adored. This guy's awesome. So if he's got a new game out, I guarantee you it's worthwhile. But before we continue, let's just take a quick minute to thank the sponsors. It's a Patreon-sponsored program. These guys are giving of their resources, the meager dollars and cents that we all have in our pocket, and they're letting me have a couple of theirs, so we can keep coming back every week. So I'd like to say thanks. So to them, I can offer early access to the show, and I read their names off in a hall of distinguished gentlemen. So I have my cup of a black tea, unsweetened hot tea, to replace the coffee I used to drink, and I'm raising it up in the air to Hemrock, James, Sendu, Tecmo Balls, Darabka, and Konstantin Kelman. Thank you guys so much for helping out and for helping keep things going, and I hope you guys are having a good time. I didn't want to lean too hard on the van this week. I only did 2. I think right now, when I put together one of these shows, I feel like 2 van casts is the sweet spot. If I'm going to do more than 2 van casts, then I better have something really good I want to say in the morning. Otherwise, we're going to balloon into one of those hour-and-a-half shows. So let's go back to the van one more time for this week. This was recorded when? This was recorded on the 14th. So, Wednesday, I guess? Alright, let's go there now. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Morning, everybody. It's the Vancast. It's Wednesday morning. It is muggy 81 degrees outside right now. It's 6:16 in the morning and I'm off to work. The air is so thick with humidity. Ugh. I can feel it on my skin, even through the air conditioning in the car. It's not great. But that's alright, because it's been a good morning and I'm headed off to work. So let's go over it. Last night and this morning, I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I reinstalled GameMaker, the original GameMaker, which you can no longer get on Steam. I have the original GameMaker Professional. At one point, there was a Humble Bundle sale. This was years ago. There was a Humble Bundle sale, and GameMaker Professional was available, but it was not a Steam version. So a lot of people bought the keys, and then they found out later on that you could get the Steam unlock by going to the Yo-Yo Games and submitting a ticket to their help desk service. So that's what I did, and I did eventually get the Steam unlock. So here we are with GameMaker Professional, which in its heyday was, I don't know, $150, maybe $200 software. And I got it for, I don't know, whatever the Humble Bundle price was, $1 or $2, something like that. Maybe like $10 at most. So I have this development suite that I never really did anything with. I installed it. I guess I should note that I played with it before I finished college. So this is at least 5 years ago. But now I have a job and I have some professional coding experience programming in the real world, I decided to revisit it. Last night I just reinstalled it on a whim. I remember because I was hanging out with my son, and I have 3 monitors set up on my computer at home. So sometimes we do this thing where we'll sit and we'll put on a YouTube video on the right-hand monitor, like a Let's Play Super Mario Maker 2. My son will hang out with me, and I'll play something with the sound off on the middle monitor, and he'll watch a Let's Play on the right-hand monitor, and we'll just hang out together that way. So last night he was watching some Mario Maker 2, and I just decided to reinstall Game Maker, and I got everything working, which took a little bit, and I started going through a platformer tutorial this morning. And now that I have some real world programming experience, I'm finding out that it's a lot easier than I thought it was. So that was a pleasant surprise. Am I saying look out for the official Tiger Claw Radio platforming game? No, I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that I had some fun with Game Maker this morning, which was great. It was really great. I played a game worth mentioning. I think it's called Downwell. Downwell. It's one of those Delver Digital games. Kind of like Hotline Miami. And this one is weird because I had this in my Steam collection forever, and I'm looking at it and I don't remember when or how I got it. But I came across it while I was sorting my games into categories. So you guys out there, particularly like Alex Swingle and Duravka and Kaiser, you guys out there with large Steam collections, look up Downwell, all one word. See if you have it in your Steam library. Because this game, I gave it a try, and right now, it's absolutely my favorite Steam game. Oh my gosh. So we're talking about a little game. Not a big, robust piece of software. Just a little game. You open it up, you boop, up, and then you're done. Perfect game to have a desktop launch icon for, which is what I do. The short and sweet explanation is you're falling. It has platforming physics, but primarily what you're doing is falling down a well. And you want to make it to the bottom of the well to move on to the next well. Platforming physics that go straight down. Now, in addition to platforming physics that go straight down, we've got some roguelike elements, right? You can shoot downwards, and that's how you jump. And then along the way, there's all sorts of additional weapons and additional power-ups that have a great effect on the gameplay and your probability of survival. And those power-ups are fairly randomized. So it's a simple little game. The time it takes to play through it is pretty quick, and each playthrough is different. And on top of that, it has a top-notch sound design. The sound design is absolutely top-notch, which is great. I like this game. I looked it up. The regular price is like $3.99 or $2.99 or something like that. It's a really good game. So I think this my buddy at work, who I trade weird Steam games with, I think Downwell might be the next game that I get him. Because it doesn't look like much. You look at especially the Steam library icon. The Steam library icon looks terrible, which is probably the reason why I've had it forever and never played it, because I would see the library icon and then just kind of glaze over it and move on to like Gary's Mod or something. But yeah, great game. Holy crap. Yeah, I might have to do just a quick YouTube video showing off what this thing actually looks like. Because I could have potentially had this in my Steam library for years as well and never seen it. And that got uncovered when I decided to make I decided to make a Steam category for platformer games. So I started going, a lot of those games that I just have in my Steam library that I got in bundles that I didn't really look at, I started having to go and look at the store pages to see what was a platforming game and what wasn't. And that was what I clicked on to see. Saw the trailer. Excuse me, my goodness, sorry. Clicked on it to see if it was a platforming game, saw the trailer on the store page, and I was like, oh wow, that game looks awesome, and I own it already. Let's give it a try. Delver Digital has some really cool, what would the word be? I want to say old school, but that's not accurate. Stripped down, old school looking games with real stripped down graphics. Kind of like how Hotline Miami's got really stripped down graphics, but it doesn't at all look like an old school game. It's very, very much a modern game. That's the way this is. Stripped down, pixelated, but flows and feels very modern. They got a number of games like that. There was one called like the Delver Digital Bootleg series. Little $5 package of a bunch of bootleg retro-looking games ripping off some of their own games, like Hotline Miami and whatnot. And that, I think, now that I'm playing Downwell and loving it, I might chase that down and get a copy of it. All right, where are we at now? I think that's about the sum up. It's Wednesday now. Wednesday mornings, the weekend's a little bit closer. Right now, I want to say I'm looking forward to messing with Game Maker, because I was just messing with it this morning, and I was not done. I was not done at all. I had more playing that I wanted to do. Because I had this idea that if I could get a functioning game, you know, with placeholder sprites, then I bet with a very small amount of money I could pay, you know, some people to get a few core sprites made for me, and then I could do the rest myself. I was not done messing with that. I would love to mess with that more. Weekend's a few days off, so I don't know if by the time Saturday comes or Friday night, I don't know. I probably will have moved on to something else. Definitely want to play a fighting game. Street Fighter V's got new stuff, and I haven't been in to check it out yet. Part of that's by design, because Street Fighter V was such a money sink for me that I don't want to go in there and say, hey, you know what, I should spend money on these additional characters. Actually spend the money and then not play the game more. So I've kind of stayed away from that on purpose for the time being. But I do want to play a fighting game. I might drop back and check out another fighting game I have, like the Street Fighter Collection. Revisit Third Strike. I used to play Street Fighter Third Strike a lot on the PS3. So that's one thing, is play a fighting game. I want to do that this weekend. Another thing that's happening is I'm running this eBay page, and some of the games I have that were never getting played are making their way out. So I'm seeing my PlayStation 2 and my Xbox stacks shrink a little bit. So that kind of makes me plug in those machines and just give some games a try that I have, just to see what's what. Make sure I know what I actually want to keep and hold on to, and what I want to get rid of. All my Call of Duty games sold, which shocked me. I didn't expect that to be the case, because they're just getting thrown in the garbage at the thrift stores. But people all bought my Call of Duty games, to the point where like they had multiple bids on them, and they actually did okay. Like, not a lot of money, but I sold them for like $2 or $3 a piece. And last night, let's see, I also had a bid taken out on Unreal Tournament for the Xbox 360. So it's like the console version of Unreal Tournament 3. Not a great game. Somebody took a bid out on that, so that's going to be going. I put Soul Calibur 2 up, and somebody put an offer. I'd never had this happen before. I put an auction for Soul Calibur 2, and I set it at like, I don't know, $5 or something very attainable. And somebody put an offer down for $10, but it's like not a bid. It was a sealed offer. So I took it, man. So I sold Soul Calibur 2 for $10. Now, mind you, I had 2 copies of Soul Calibur 2. So before you're like, oh, it's an awesome game. Yeah, I know it's an awesome game. I still have one. I came across 2 copies of it. There was one day I was out with my wife at the thrift store. Hey, there's Soul Calibur 2. It's a pretty great game. So I bought that, brought it home. Turns out I had it already. So I had these 2 copies of Soul Calibur 2, and I was like meticulously checking them over to figure out which one was the one I actually wanted to keep. And there was a clear winner. I have the one in my collection that I'm holding on to, and just got a buyer for the second copy. So that will get recirculated, which is great. So now that that's picking up momentum, I want to fire up the PS2, fire up the original Xbox, fire up the Xbox 360, see what I like and what I actually want to hold on to. Because I'm going through the games, and I see games that like I'm ready to sell, but I might just want to boot them up one more time to see. Here's an example: Perfect Dark Zero for the Xbox 360. Anybody play that game before? I bought that while I was still in college, and I played it once, and I remember thinking it was pretty slow paced, and I was not captivated. I think that's the consensus on Perfect Dark Zero. Like, I don't think it's a beloved game quite like the first one was for the N64. But I think I might be ready to show that game the door. I don't know. I think it might be... it might make for good content to, like, get the phone out and do, like, a Vancast style segment while live going through my games. Because I've got some like that are ready to go. Here's another one that is ready to go. Dude, what are you doing? This dude's swelling up on me at like 45 miles an hour. You know there's a camera on this road, right? Alright, hang on a second. Bayonetta. I've got Bayonetta for the PS3. I'm ready to let that go. Everybody loves Bayonetta, right? But I've got Bayonetta on Steam, and if I decide to play through it, Steam's where it's going to happen. So I think my old copy that I got from GameStop I think I got it for like $13 with no manual. I'm ready to let that one go as well. So to recap, this weekend I want to play a fighting game and work with my eBay page a little bit, figure out what's ready to go and what isn't. And I think that's probably what I'm looking forward to most. And with that, boys and girls, I'm going to send you guys back to the studio while I go in and do my Wednesday at the office. Back in the studio again. By the way, the Game Maker game I'm making with my son is called Sacre Bleu, and we ironed out quite a few bugs, and we put in quite a lot of time into this game. Just a silly little platformer. Right now, you're still controlling blocks and jumping over blocks. Not much to it. But it's been pretty great. We looked at my achievements in Game Maker, because Game Maker itself has achievements, like test run a game 10 times, test run a game 100 times, encounter a bug, that sort of thing. We looked at my achievements, and the first ones are unlocked back in 2013. So what is that, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 6 years ago. 6 years ago, this is the most I've ever done in a game in Game Maker, and my hours in Game Maker have ballooned out quite a bit. So, will Sacre Bleu ever become publicly available? Don't know. But I'm certainly having fun making a little platformer. There's still fun to be had there. Feels a lot like when I was younger. I'm trying to remember how old I was, but when I was much younger, I used to play with a program called Click and Play. And I had a friend who, he and I used to make Click and Play games quite a lot. Now, Click and Play, if you've never heard of it, is still around, but it goes by another name now. It's made by Click Team, a company called Click Team, and they made something else called the Games Factory, and then they made something called Multimedia Fusion, and then they made, what is the one that I have now? Hang on a second. Let me check. Click Team Fusion 2.5 is, as far as I know, the latest thing from Click Team. So this is that's what I have on Steam. It's essentially just the old Click and Play I used to use when I was a kid. We used to make little Pong type games with it, but I don't know. All right, where am I at now? Give me a second here. I'm debating. I think we're gonna call that it for chip tunes for the day. I'm gonna go over to the YouTube channel and check out the comments. You know how it is. It's just me. It's just you here. We'll have a conversation. We'll see what's up. Now there was a challenge. I don't even think it was last week. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Hemrock challenged me to play. What is it now? It was Lord of the Rings on PS2. The third game, whatever it is. I haven't played it yet, Hemrock, but I will. I accepted the challenge. We're gonna make this happen, and we'll get back next week and see how it went down. Another thing I didn't do, I talked last week about wanting to play some of my disc-based games, wanting to play some of my PS2 games, Xbox 360, all that stuff. Those are on their way out. I mean, I should amend that. Some of those that I have are on their way out. It will be nice to go back and play some, and I haven't yet. So we'll see how that goes. All right, give me a second here to navigate in. We're going to the YouTube studio, which still in parentheses says beta. Why I'm going into a beta app to read comments when my channel is 10 years old, I don't know. That's on YouTube. We'll go to comments. It's still slowly loading. This is the best way I have to do it, by the way. I can't go to the front end, even though going to the front end is much, much faster. I miss comments doing that. All right, we jump back. I heard quite a lot of YouTube comments this past week. Falkier Hard left a comment on my Vet video. Vet, 1989 MS-DOS game. He writes, I had this game and hated it, but then loved it when I realized what it was I was doing. A real replication of some city in the U.S. complete with tunnels and bridges. It was pre-GTA. You could run people over and they would stay flat on the ground, although they kept moving. Yeah, you know, it's funny you bring that up because I played Vet as a kid and I didn't realize that they tried to faithfully recreate San Francisco in an MS-DOS racing game. And considering it's MS-DOS, how close they got. I made a video last week detailing a mixtape exchange that I did. It's just some old footage I had from a couple of months back. There's a guy in Canada who wanted to trade mixtapes, and I got some really I got to unload some stuff. Like I sent him a really big box, and the 2 tapes I got back were amazing as well. So I got a comment on that from Painted Blonde, who, if you watch this channel, you might know I buy tapes from that guy, so it's always cool to hear from him. He says, rad stuff. International shipping is a nightmare. It's so expensive. I'm surprised you were able to ship all that for $15. Usually costs around that much for me to ship just a couple of tapes. Yeah, it was actually $17, which was a lot of money. It was the kind of thing where I knew it was going to be a lot, but I didn't know it was going to be that much. And when I was already in the post office, I was like, oh, I don't know if this was such a good idea. But then the tapes showed up, and yeah, it was totally worth it. Well worth it. Gaming Beast 82 writes, we'll get together and play some games for sure, man. I also agree with Desm. Take a break from TCR if you need to. Those truck simulator games seem interesting as a novelty kind of thing. They get the driving and the tiring sim down, but what about the other parts of a trucker's life? What about the bar brawls, drunken revelry, and depression over missing your family? Truck stop ladies, road battles with easy riders, random convoys. By the way, convoys is in all caps. Only then will the simulation be complete. On a different topic, have you ever thought about playing Fallout New Vegas? I think you would enjoy it a lot. Either way, keep on trucking, partner. 10-4. Yeah, you know, you raised some good points about Euro Truck Simulator. There is actually an American Truck Simulator, by the way, from the same company running on the same engine. The Euro Truck Simulator guys are saying, hey, we'll make an American one. And I have it. Yes, I do. I still play Euro Truck Simulator because that's what my buddy plays and that's what most people play. Why should that matter? Well, it's because of the mods. Come on, Sean, you're a guy who knows about mods. So you got to play the one where all the people are so you can play the best mods. And speaking of mods, I bet they could mod in quite a lot of the stuff you're talking about. I gotta say though, once I made the move from Euro Truck Simulator to Euro Truck Simulator 2, I haven't had to stop and sleep anywhere yet. I know that's still a part of the game, but not as much. They cut down a little bit on that in the second game. See, in the first game, once you drop off your trailer, you have to drive all the way back to a place that will give out a job, right? In this game, once you drop the trailer off, you just go to the menu and pick up a job and appear somewhere else with another trailer. They cut out a lot of the aimless driving around. Makes it much more playable. I gotta say, man, and you're a guy who would appreciate this, this is a game that on paper sounds like nothing. All these truck simulator games, on paper, they sound like nothing. But you gotta remember, Euro Truck Simulator 2 was so popular that it sparked a whole fad of these simulator games. A lot of these like joke simulator games came out after Euro Truck Simulator 2, and I would argue they came out in response to Euro Truck Simulator 2 and all that game's success. Just my opinion when I look at how things went down. It's a great game though, any way you slice it. Any way you slice it, it's a great game. Alright, KT Johnson, your boy Chuck Johnson, aka Kid Thunder, says nice. One word comment on the International Mixtape Exchange video. Thanks, Chuck. It's good to hear from you, brother. Let's see. We got a couple more from Death Adder, and we got one from Mecha Menace. All right. Still more to come. Death Adder. I got a few from Death Adder. Happy about this. He writes, Michael Cera, I hate him so much. I get those feels too. Yeah, what is it about Michael Cera that just makes him so unlikable? I don't know. I didn't get that feeling when I was watching Arrested Development. You know, like when Arrested Development was originally on. Yeah, he was just a guy, but I don't know. Something happened after that show let out. As he got older, maybe it was Juno. I never saw Juno though. I don't know. Whatever. Death Adder writes, at 38 minutes in, there is an MK Ultra mind control video game. I bet Al Roker and Shaquille O'Neal played the heck out of it. Come on, Death Adder, you know all about this. It's Polybius. They say it's an MK Ultra mind control video game, but it's all urban legend. Doesn't exist. And then he says, yeah, man, hit me up in the comments or in the chords with a time and place. I'm East Coast time. I can lock my wife up in the broom closet for 20 minutes while we talk about Dead by Daylight. I can even steal the MP3 and put it on my show too. Yeah, I would be totally down for that. We can do a simulcast. A simulcast, just to make sure one of our shows gets absolutely ignored. All right, this was last week on 297. That makes this episode 298. All right, Death Adder, that means we have 2 weeks to get it together. Is that it? I think that's all the Death Adder comments. Good to hear from you, brother. Got a nice one from Mecha Menace. I think we're in a generation... This is Mecha Menace. I think we're in a generation that has to die before choosing seats in a movie theater. Wow, I messed that up. I'm sorry, brother. Let me read that again. I think we're the generation that has to die before choosing seats at a movie theater. It's normal. Thanks for reminding me about The Boys TV show. I had a trailer bookmarked for whenever I get to it. First episode is really annoying with how many contemporary social issues they slam in your face. I know it makes it more appealing to you non-sci-fi fans that it isn't just a superhero show, but it would have been nice if they worked in those points. If they worked those points in a little smoother. It's like, bam, here's what the show is about. Do you want to hang in for 8 episodes? My guess is they probably is probably limited budget and time constraints forced the cram. That being said, get past the first episode. The writing is excellent, besides Simon Pegg's part. I never read the comic to which you're referring, and I have no interest. But as a fan of stuff, I know how upsetting it is to get an adaptation to the screen that varies from the original material. I'm glad they didn't change much, according to the Gaming Beast. You said they changed the way the story is presented chronologically. Either way, it's digestible in its current form. That Pice song sounds like the backing track for a modern pop song. It actually sounds like something I've heard recently. The old Saravello isn't firing yet, so I can't remember. What's up with the last handful of TCR lacking the ending theme? I think one episode has it. Isn't the process simple? I thought you overlaid the track near the end during the mastering process. Is this the new style? Alright, Mecha Menace, let's start with the end and we'll work backwards. The TCR backing track. Yes, it is simple. I'm just that lazy. The reality is, I'm usually putting these things together on Friday night, and I'm dying to get it done so I can either go to sleep or spend 20 minutes playing a game. My Friday night every week is TCR. So, yeah, I'll make sure it's in there for you this week. Pice. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned it sounding like a pop track because we've had pop tracks in the past that just straight up plagiarized chiptune people. I think Timbaland did it. Timbaland produced, what's that lady pop singer who used to be popular like 10 years ago? Nelly Furtado? Nelly Furtado has a track where she's singing over a plagiarized chiptune, and Timbaland, who produced it, got sued over it. So it's happened. So you might have actually heard that recently. Who knows? What else did you talk about? You talked to The Boys. Yeah, there was nothing smooth about the comic book. So at least making it in your face, that's kind of what it's all, in your face is what it's all about. And if you don't like that, believe me, I understand. Which is one of the things I dug about The Boys, is it's like, it's a very niche story, I look at what's popular with superhero movies, and then I look at The Boys, and it's like those two things are a mile apart, which, even though it's been watered down, still kind of shocks me that it made it to, a contemporary television series. I enjoyed it very much. Had problems, wasn't perfect, but I dug it. I liked The Boys so much that it got me back into the concept of watching shows, not just like watching a series or just watching stuff. I gave up on movies. I gave up on altogether. But I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and then The Boys. Both of those things, which I enjoyed very much in a very short period of time, got me back into the idea of hanging out and watching something. So this morning, actually, I watched the movie Jackie Brown, which I had never seen before, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I loved Jackie Brown, which I wasn't expecting, which was super cool. So I honestly don't know what I'm going to watch next. I had considered, let's see, I even looked at the anime that's on Netflix right now. Because I remember looking at the Netflix crop of anime probably like 5 years ago and just flipping through it to see if there was anything interesting. And now, of course, it's all different because something that's available on Netflix, isn't always going to be available on Netflix. I'm thinking about watching that show, One Punch Man, because I know people really like that. That's supposed to be like a critically acclaimed show. I might give that a try. I know some of you guys who listen to this are anime people. You might get a kick out of that. Let me know. I don't know. Yeah. I'm super, super interested in a movie called Hobo with a Shotgun. Like, I can't wait to see this movie. I'm figuring out how I want to do it. I can rent it for 99 cents on Amazon, or I can get like a copy of the DVD for $5 on eBay. And I haven't decided which of those I want to do. But Hobo with a Shotgun, if you like ultra-violent movies where it's just a bloodbath in every screen, then look up Hobo with a Shotgun. Because that's something that has my attention. And I drifted pretty far from the original comment, but that's just some stuff for you. There's more. Adam Borborough left one on that. Okay, this is an old video. Double Dragon Full Hearts Trick on NES was a video I made quite a while ago, detailing a glitch in the original Double Dragon where you could punch an invisible man over and over again and get points, and more importantly, skill points. So you just spend 10 minutes punching this invisible man, and then your skill points go all the way up. Then you can play the rest of the game with all the techniques. And he writes, "Dude, thanks for sharing this video. I remember seeing this only once back in the 80s, and everyone told me about it. Everyone I told about it thought I was nuts." Yes, I love this comment. You know why? Because I can see exactly what he's talking about. This trick, and the video is still up if you guys want to look it up. It's several years old now, but This trick was one of those instances when we were kids. Do you know how everybody has a story where it's like, dude, my brother works for Nintendo, my dad works for Nintendo, and he said if you hit reset in Zelda at the final boss, then you can get all of the stuff in the stuff. Everybody has like a completely baloney thing they heard out in the schoolyard about Nintendo games, right? One of mine that I remember hearing as a kid was in the original Zelda, in the dungeons, the old man, if you slash the old man 100 times, you get all the items or something, which turned out to be totally false. This is one of those stories that actually turned out to be true, which I love. So my hat's off to Adam Barbaro for leaving that comment. Thanks, man. I feel kind of bad that I didn't get back to him. Tarl Zakara left something on... he left technical questions on the how to auto mount in DOSBox, which I'm going to skip. Just technical questions. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple from Alex Swingle. Alex Swingle, my good friend, is going to round off the fail bag segment for us. He writes at 41 minutes in. Games like Battlefield 2, Red Alert 3 used GameSpy, and EA refused to make the simple conversion. That's why they also work easily through Game Ranger. Which is awesome. Here's a question, Alex. Red Alert 3 works through Game Ranger, right? Does it not? I have Red Alert 3. I don't ever see anybody playing it, I don't think, but I haven't logged into Game Ranger for a while. I actually did take the time to hook Game Ranger up to my Steam library, thinking I would use it. I did this like a week ago. Haven't used it actually. haven't quite got around to that one. Finally, our final comment, he writes, 35 minutes and 20 seconds in. Chirp Whir, the full spectrum warrior. All right, I'm going to pause the show right now because I want to go back to that time signature because I have no idea what he's talking about. Bear with me 1 second, boys and girls. Oh, yeah, he's talking about RO9. Oh, Alex. I'm looking at this game, RO9, which I mentioned last week. And how liking RO9 makes me a full spectrum warrior, makes me on the spectrum. And I do love this game, but there is no part of this game that would ever look even remotely appealing to you. One of the things I like to tease Alex about is Alex likes to peel back the graphic veneer of what you're doing in a video game and look at the actual actions you're performing and compare them to other things that are similar. And because of this, we have things where it's like, what's a good example, Alex? Here's an example. Alex might not have said this, but this is something that he would say. In a game like Endless Space. In Endless Space, in the ship battles, it's really a matter of choosing the right ship. And then if you're using the right ship, then you'll overpower your enemy, and you have no idea what kind of ship they're going to use. So he would say, that's a great paper, rock, scissors simulator. That kind of thing. So to put it in that perspective, RO9 is the greatest mail delivery / Punch-Out mod sequel? I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see what you would say. Maybe I'll do a Let's Play of it because I know you're not going to want to download this thing. But yeah, that's RO9. Alright, boys and girls, you know what that sound means. Time to wrap things up for the week. And whatever it is you gotta move on to, all the things you gotta take care of that you don't want to, buckle yourselves up and head right for them, because that's the only way you're gonna come out on the other side. And with that, I'm wishing you all the best in the world, and I'll see you next Monday.